Who's heard of Jammers as a first thing? Well, Jammers kick up a storm at the moment. He's been on several radio stations. He's got a serious following on YouTube. He runs the Speakers Club. And also he's got a book out.
Now you're tuned in to DJ Jammers on Bless Radio. 5 till 7 is the Jam Master Show. Every Thursday there good vibes aflow. With etymology to make your brain cells grow.
Words have got many different meanings, alright? I'm going to discuss the meaning that's applied in a certain way that keeps us restricted today, alright?
Now you're tuned into DJ Jammers on Bless Radio.
What's happened is a young 12-year-old boy has been denied his education by school just based on his dreadlocks. We're going to have some callers coming through.
You're in tune to DJ Jammers on Bless Radio, UK's #1 station for great music. Don't touch that dial.
Greetings, family. This is your sister in By Any Means Necessary.
Hi, good. Thank you for calling. And what have you got to say today?
You're very welcome. Well, actually, you know what? I'm calling in because I've just seen the link regarding tonight's show.
Right.
That it's about our son Chikayzea.
Yes.
Okay. Well,
what's your take?
I was at the protest at the school on Tuesday.
Right.
Great vibration.
Mm-hmm.
I have to be honest and say, I wasn't disappointed because I know how our people, sadly, some of our people stay. It would have been good if more people had turned out, but those of us that were there,
mm-hmm.
we were there in numbers, shall we say. I just want to be clear that what's happened in relation to this situation.
So are you relative? You're the mother? Are you an organisation?
I'm sorry?
How are you related to the young boy?
No, I'm not related.
No, just fine. That's fine. Yeah, good.
Yeah, I'm not related. I've got to know the family.
Yeah, carry on. Sorry.
Quite well, of them.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Our son has applied and been accepted at this school.
Yes.
Last year.
Right.
He went along for the induction day.
Mm-hmm.
They were so impressed with him, they took photos of him, which they put on their website.
Wait a minute, can you stop? So they actually took photos of him?
Yes.
And put him on it? Wow.
Put them on the website,
mm-hmm.
Okay. So now fast forward a year later, September 2017, he starts at the school. And on the first day, I understand it is, the head of house came into the classroom, asked him to come out,
mm-hmm.
told him by Monday he will have to cut his hair, his dreadlocks, because it doesn't conform to the school's policy. Now then, anyone, as a number of people have done, has gone onto the school's website to have a look at the policy, and absolutely the policy does state no dreadlocks, no braids, okay?
Is this a new addition to the policy, or is this a...
Absolutely.
Right.
The policy was reviewed in June of this year. The previous dress policy of 2016 is still on the school's website. They might well take it down quickly, though, because they've been doing that with a lot of comments that people have been making in support of this son and his family. But yeah, it quite clearly is a new addition, okay? So the school, aside from that, this policy contravenes legislation. This is what's key, okay?
How does it contravene the legislation?
Okay. Chikayzea as a Rasta is protected under the Equality Act because of him sharing 2 of the 9 protected characteristics. Okay, one being race or ethnicity, the other being religion.
Right.
So for a school to introduce a policy which breaches legislation, it breaches the Equality Act 2010, it breaches human rights, the Human Rights Act as well. Okay, it is unlawful for the school to behave like this. One of the things that surprised me is when I started to look at this situation, this case, and I went onto the school's website and did some due diligence, I discovered that the school governors, of course, none of whom reflect any of our children that attend that school. But one of them is actually a lawyer.
Wow.
So the question I've been asking is, well, because no school policy is approved or passed unless the Board of Governors approve it. So how on earth, or why is it that a lawyer, a school governor, has approved a policy that she knows is unlawful?
Miss Sister, this is Brother Dougie speaking. How you keeping?
Oh, hey Dougie. How you doing, bro?
Good, thanks. When I heard your name, a little joy come to my heart, you know?
You know what? As soon as you just said it as you, I was smiling, you see? I was smiling. Oh, enough love to you, brother.
Yeah, enough love. But I'm a bit confused, right? And this is where you could help me, right? Mm-hmm. You're saying that, I'm afraid with James today, in fact, he's telling me and James today that there's the same young youth there, they're using some kind of promotional, what?
You'd be using as a promotion for the school.
Promotion for the school, for their perspective for the school, something like that?
Yes, yeah, they took...
diversity and whatever. And yet again, they ban him for... so they must have dreadlocks after they use him for promotional.
Okay,
that doesn't make sense. It
doesn't make sense. Well, actually, if you think about it, it does, because clearly, or to me, what seems evidently has happened. Okay, somebody, probably one of the Becky parents, or indeed maybe one of the school governors, as I said, the school governors are reflective of the majority ethnicity of the pupils in that school, as in they're all white. So somebody has seen our son's picture on the website and has said, oh my God, we can't have those sorts of children at that school. And next minute, a new policy or an amendment to the policy, the dress policy, has been added. Because this policy, the current policy, dates from June 2017. I have it with me. The previous policy actually does make reference to braids not being allowed,
right?
But doesn't say dreadlocks. And it's interesting. That interested me again in itself, because I assumed, it's always wrong to assume things, I assumed that maybe it was both braids and dreadlocks that had been added. But no, braids was there last year, but dreadlocks certainly were not.
Right. Oh, okay. Okay. Then.
Wow. So why do you think... Sorry to cut. Why do you think they've done this then? Why do you think they've done this? Why they changed this policy? What do you think?
Okay, well, why I think this has happened, I mean, for several reasons, some of which I've just alluded to, but on the day when we had the protest, on the Tuesday, I was speaking to some of the neighbours. The school is interesting in fact, its geographical location, because it's slap bang in the middle of an estate, okay? The neighbours are saying to me that very few of their children attend that school. These are neighbours on the estate, okay? So that very few of them their children attend that school. They told me that what's happening at Fulham Boys is part of the wider issue regarding gentrification.
Okay, then. Right. Okay.
Yeah. So now, a number of people I've heard, myself included, I've initially said, well, hang on a minute. If there was a Sikh child attending that school, will they ask that child to remove the turban? Do you know what the response has always been? There's no Sikh children here. And I said, I wonder why that is.
Yeah.
Really? Do you know what I mean?
Yeah,
They're saying it like, oh, well, yes, but there aren't any Sikh children. But why is that? Maybe it's because all is racist.
Yeah.
Because how does this because I think their policy, they was trying to say they accept all different faiths, so how does
No. Sorry to interrupt you. The policy isn't trying to say, the policy says quite clear. On the school's website it says it quite clearly. On the headmaster's blog it goes on quite clearly that it's an inclusive school which welcomes all faiths. Now, legally, as a school, unless you are an independent private school, you have to, and even I think with some private schools there might be a legal obligation, but you have to accept, I think it's 2% if you're a faith school, of non-faith children, so those would be classed as secular or indeed atheist, okay? Legally you have to do that, okay?
Right.
So, but it also goes on to say on the school's website that if a parent or a child has an issue or there's a difficulty in regards to their religion or something, particular clothing they have to wear or something, then the school will take a very sympathetic approach and they will discuss it and negotiate with the parent. None of this has happened. That little Ebenezer, okay, little bald-head Napoleon, headmaster, hasn't responded, hasn't had the courtesy even to respond to the family's communications. He's not even responded to the lawyer's communications.
Right.
This is how bright he is, and yet he's standing so far in the wrong. Me personally, I want that man's head on. I want him to lose his job, and several, if not the entire school board of governors, should also lose their position because they're clearly not fit to govern. And that head teacher, as I shouted at him quite a lot on Tuesday, is not fit to be a head teacher and run a school.
So yeah, so basically you're saying that it's a racial. It seems to you as a racial issue. Why they're doing this?
Well, I think we need to be clear.
Right.
It is both. It is, but they are discriminating both on grounds of, first and foremost, on grounds of his religion, because Rastafari is recognised as a religion by the United Nations Convention, as well as by legislation in this country. It's a recognised religion, number one.
Right.
Okay? It is unlawful to discriminate against anyone who has a protected characteristic, i.e. a particular religious belief.
Right.
All right?
Yeah.
Number one. And insofar as the racism, well, yes, absolutely, I believe, and many of us do believe, that there is racial discrimination, okay? Interestingly enough, there have been a few comments from this headmaster and others of his ilk disputing the racial discrimination accusation. None of them as yet have been able to dispute the religious discrimination.
Okay then.
Right.
Okay then.
Right.
So if we just say, you know what, all right then, we'll just park a little bit to the side the racial discrimination, but without a shadow of a doubt, religious discrimination is so overtly, it's all over this case. And as I said, you know, it's interesting that they have one of the governors who's a lawyer, and my goodness me, what legal advice have they given? That person's not fit to be a school governor.
So yeah, because basically, if you look at the policy, hair is not an item of clothing. It should never have been used as an issue that he could not go get his education.
No, not necessarily. Because that's excuse the pun, but that's splitting hairs when you say that hair is not an item of clothing. The school's acceptable dress policy, it covers clothing and hair, and what hairstyles are acceptable. However, on Tuesday, on the day, I saw personally with my own eyes, in fact it was a neighbour who'd alerted me to a little white boy who has bleached blonde hair at the front, brown at the back, one piece is shaved, and the other side is long.
And he was a schoolboy from the school?
At the school, people from the school. At the school itself, I saw this while I was there. Now, I was talking to this neighbour, she was telling me about this child, and then she said, look, there he is. I turned around and I saw the little boy. So there were two teachers by the side entrance where I was. And so I started shouting at them. I said, this child, his hair clearly does not comply with your school policy. What are you saying about that? The child and the teachers ran into the school.
Wow.
I saw them free.
But all, my sister, enemies necessary. Let me just forward the reasoning though, because the question I want to ask, and obviously people are listening as well, is where do we go from here with this campaign? Because the more I listen to this, the more I feel very upset, and it sounds so ridiculous and disrespectful. And you know, me and Jam was talking about this earlier on, and another brother. You know, I mean, where do we feel we should be going from here, this campaign here, or what we should be doing?
Okay, well, first, my brother, good. I'm glad that you feel upset. I'm glad that you feel all the things that you feel, because it's right that you should feel that. And actually, I'd be concerned by anyone who didn't feel that. Any of our people, anyway, who didn't feel that way, because this is yet another attack on our civil liberties.
Right.
So I'm just trying to see if I've got one in my bag. I don't think I have. Okay, there is. If you were to go onto the Work in Action Group website, you should find information, because Work in Action Group and Black Child's Gender, they help to organise Tuesday protests outside the school.
So can I just stop you? Sorry, can I just? So if anybody wants to get involved, this is where they should contact first point of call. You would say.
Yes. Yes.
Could you just tell us again? Could you just tell us again?
Okay, so the Working Action Group.
Yes.
On their website, there should be information about the petition.
Right.
I urge everybody to please sign the petition.
Mm-hmm.
The Black Child Agenda.
Right.
Which, of course, is our great sister Cheryl Phoenix's organisation. Again, there will be information regarding the petition on Cheryl's site as well.
Mm-hmm. And is there going to be any more meetings going on, or discussions going on?
There certainly will be. But, you know, we also have to be mindful, because we know how their operatives operate, state agents everywhere. So we're mindful as to how much information we let off, as it were, in public forum. You know what I'm saying?
Yes, I
absolutely
understand.
right. Absolutely right. Absolutely right. Absolutely right. You know. Well, my sister, I mean, just hearing you, because I'm listening, and I'm getting so tense and so worked up by this ridiculous kind of behaviour. And again, it's their behaviour. Again, it's total discrimination, racism. They're being very disrespectful, have no respect at all for us as a people. And you know, all the things, you know, is coming up, you know, from me now. You see, and it's something, you know, we have to put a stop to this kind of nonsense here.
Exactly.
Yeah, put a stop to this kind of nonsense here, and we need to rally around and do what we can do to just put a stop to this. Just squash it and mash it down and say, look, this is nonsense, and don't come in kind of behaviour again, you know?
Absolutely.
You know? And also, we got to look at the stress you put on the family, and also the boy. How old is the boy anyway?
He's 12.
See, look at the stress you put on the young boy there.
It caused him stress. It caused him sufficient stress that, I mean, it began to make him ill.
That's terrible.
And that's why, you know, I think parents obviously made the decision to just remove him from the school. So he's now in another school. He's very happy. When I spoke to him on Tuesday, he said he loves his new school. He's made friends. And I tell you what, Fulham Boys School have really missed out on a talented son. I saw some of our son Chikayzea's artwork, and I've got to tell you, I was blown away. And I said, son, did you draw this freehand? He said, yes. I said, your schoolmates at your new school are going to love you. He's a very talented artist.
Wow.
Very talented. And he's such a beautiful child, and his family are such... They really are such beautiful people. I love them, you know. And so, listen, this is what it's about. Because if you insult one, you insult all. If you harm one, know that you're harming all of us. I am my sister and my brother's keeper. And that is attitude that we must have. In fact, how can you, as an African, have any other attitude? You don't see your sisters and your brothers as your sisters and your brothers. You don't see every black child as your child, and there's a problem.
Well, you see, the thing is that's why it's very important for us to have a solid organisation. You know, have a solid organisation. So when it comes to kind of nonsense here, we say, look here, this is foolishness, and we deal with them. Because can you imagine these people mess with the Jewish community or even the Asian community or whatever? They wouldn't think about it.
Exactly.
You know, they wouldn't come to the part. They just wouldn't think about it. And they come to kind of foolishness. The Jews come down upon it like a ton of brick and say, look here.
Exactly.
You see?
They would not pass themselves. And what the Jewish people would have done, they would come to the school en masse, and they'd go in the school.
That's
and
right.
In.
That's right.
We know, as African people, anyhow, because they had two popos there, little po policemen. It's hilarious, okay? And they were just walking to see. And I went to the side, by the side of the school, by the playground, with the banner. And I tell you something, lots of people, you know, were saluting in solidarity with us. And the headmaster was ripping them, making them go to the other side of the playground. But I will say this, we knew not to take to step 1 foot off the school ground. That's what they wanted us to do. They must think we're stupid. Even one fingernail on their land, so they could do it. Trespassing and all kind of things. Okay. So no, we're wise. We've been in Rome long enough to know how Caesar works.
Well, you see, and I'm glad in a way it's a blessing because there's a lesson to learn from this, right? And lesson we learn from this that again we need to be about being more solidarity among ourselves as a family, right?
Absolutely.
It's about being organised and about doing our thing, because that's just how vulnerable we are. That's how vulnerable we are. I mean, and the more I think about it, the more it's just so ridiculous, just so crazy, like you're reciting a storybook or whatever. You know what I mean? Yeah. So,
and especially, people said, "What is it? 2017? This is still like going on." Of course it is. Make no mistake, okay? The emperor's only changed his suit. Racism, as we know, is alive and kicking. All they've done is change their suit.
That's right. That's right.
They're less overt with their things, but they're still dealing with the same old BS. Difference is we're not having it.
No.
And we will challenge them on every front. And I will say, I'll make a small reference in regards to something that you said about us needing an organisation. Absolutely, we do. And we are looking to set up our own Ministry of Justice.
Well, it's a must.
Yes.
That's a must.
Yes, absolutely.
That's a must. You see what I'm saying?
So I've been to a wonderful honourable brother who is a criminal lawyer who attended the protest on Tuesday. And we spoke about it, and about us progressing it, as it were. So yeah, things are happening. Things are certainly happening. Things are moving. But as I said, we have to be mindful. We have to be mindful about how we communicate what our plans are.
That's right. That's right. That's right.
But listen, Dougie, I'm going to send you the flyer because I have it electronically, okay? So I'll send it to you, and so hopefully you can read out the information in regards to that. I've got to go because I'm still in the office.
Okay, then. Well, my sister, give thanks to you. And big up to the Working Action Group, to Sister Juliet and her husband and the family, yourself and your family.
Wonderful, thank you.
Yeah, it's just
and don't forget, our sister Cheryl Phoenix is such an awesome empress. The work she's been doing for our children in battling the state, for years now, really is awesome, is commendable. She's got an event coming up on the 25th of November. I'm going to forward you the information for that because, again, we need to actively be supporting these organisations, these initiatives which are about directly tackling racism, particularly those that's affecting our children, our future.
Absolutely.
Okay. All right, blessed love, one and all.
Thank you for your call.
Great work.
I can visualise your beautiful smile,
life, bro.
Respect. Thanks a lot. Thanks for that contribution. Once again, if anybody else wants to call and let us know what the situation is, what we need to do as a people, how can we fight this, and where what inadequacies and discrimination have been shown. If you was on the march itself, or if you've got any inside information, if you're a legal expert, you can call us here.
But Jeremy, I just want to be clear, right? They use the youth, right?
Yeah.
As some kind of promotional to promote their school.
That's what Brother Ricardo gave us the information. Yeah.
And in terms of diversity and etc. Yeah.
So one aspect they've used the young gentlemen to promote their diversity and cultural awareness
in some magazine, in some
I think actually on their website, on their perspective
on their website or whatever, right? And Supreme's in the holes. Once Supreme can clarify this now, right?
Before we bring in Supreme, I just want to get a number to get the numbers to get just to give you that we're gonna Dougie's gonna explain what he's finding really strange about this, but we're gonna give you the number to call, which is 07 333 13. No, sorry, 079 444 31366. Once again, the number to call is 079 444 31366. I'll give you one more time. So if you want to call on this issue, 079 444 31366. Back to you, Dougie.
Hold on, let me just get this right now, right? Right. Because this is why I can't get my head. Well, I'm getting my head around it now, right? Because Ricardo explained this to us earlier on, right? They used the brother, right? The young youth.
The young, 12 years old, yeah.
In a
Chikayzea Flanders.
Right, on a website, yeah?
On their, to promote their school.
Yeah, to promote diversity and all that stuff there, yeah?
Right, and it does seem like the word used is quite appropriate now, yes.
Right. And now they said to the youth that you can't come to school, you have to cut off your locks. Yeah. After they use him to promote the school as for diversity and culture to attract attention to the school. They told him that he would have to cut off his dreadlocks or face suspension. Suspension, you know. I don't understand. Me, the people are downright fierce. They know what to order.
Well, it's like now they've got they're licensed to do anything now.
It's like a man slap off your face and kick in your teeth. You know what I mean? You know?
And I think what people have to be aware, it's not just one boy. He represents all of our children. You know, it's not just one. They're making a statement for everybody of our cultural nature.
No, but you see,
and anybody who has lots of or hair of that nature. It's not just one child. They're making a statement to all of us by this disregard of our education, because education is prime as human rights.
No, but all right. If he just come to school and the policy was that you ain't supposed to have no locks and whatever, right? Mm-hmm. And he just compose himself in the school, I can understand that, right? I can understand that. But after they use him to promote him, and obviously he's been in there, and after a period of time they say, look here, cut off. They can't get around
it's that. Totally out of order, and definitely malpractice, and whatever the issue, they've totally gone back the wrong way. Actually, we've got the excerpt through from the headmaster's response to this. So we're we'd like you to hear this, and once again, remember to call us, share your views on this incident.
We spoke to a lady called Chikayzea Flanders. Her child is called Chikayzea. He's 12 years of age, and he spent much of his first week in his new school, which is called Fulham Boys School, in what's called isolation because of his dreadlocks. The school said it was against their policy, their uniform policy, to have dreadlocks. Well, Chikayzea's headmaster has come on the phone to defend his position on all of this. And what have you got to say, sir?
Good morning. I watched the extract. Obviously, like you, I think that Chikayzea should be in school. We have got a very strict uniform and appearance policy, which we make clear in our prospectus, on our website, in our policies. Whenever I speak in public, in transition events, open evenings, open days, we make it very clear. To illustrate how strict we are, I always draw attention to the hair, and then invite parents through. We send lots of letters to them, and invite parents if they have any issue, any queries, please come and see me before your son and you decide to come to school.
Alan, a couple of things here. We're not talking about a fashion statement. We're talking about what they believe is their culture and their religion, number one. And number two is, she said she did meet you prior to term starting. So surely you had an opportunity to flag this up.
She didn't meet me prior to term starting. She's met me on open evenings when there's been lots of parents, and we have lots of boys. We're very oversubscribed. Because we're so strict, that's why we're so popular. Lots of boys come with all sorts of different hair, and so I don't single any boy out. I just say, by the time you come to Fulham Boys School, you need to have conformed to our policy.
But Tuesday said that she had read the school rules very thoroughly, and nowhere did it say no dreadlocks. It said, you can't wear your hair below your collar, but Chikayzea ties his dreadlocks up. So she didn't believe it was against the rules.
if you go on our website, our policy is very clearly on our website, and it actually states in that policy no dreadlocks. It's very clear. And I had a letter from the young man's mum on Monday to respond to her within 28 days. I acknowledged that letter straight away, and said that I will respond to her within 15 days in line with our policy.
But Alan,
and I hope to get a letter to her.
But why was he isolated? I understand there's a grey area here in terms of your rules and how she interprets the rules. But for Chikayzea, he was put in isolation. He's only just started at your school. That seems very harsh to me.
He wasn't put in isolation on his first day. We spoke to him and spoke to the mum and asked them would they get things so it was in line with our policy. He wasn't put in isolation on the first day. We give year 7 a few days grace. So again, we just asked them, give them a chance to sort that out.
Alan, unfortunately, we've only got 45 seconds, but the main thing is you're now in conflict with someone else's religious beliefs. I know you're a Church of England school, you accept other cultures and races, but you don't seem to be respecting them, my friend. You've got 30 seconds.
We respect it, but we're treating this as a cultural matter, not a religious matter at the moment.
She's not treating it like that.
But until we see something in some kind of tenet of religion, then we're going to treat it as a cultural matter. We're taking advice, but just to confirm, there are boys from lots of religions, lots of cultures, all very welcome at Fulham Boys School, and that is seen in our intake.
Right, so basically that was a statement from the headmaster. He's saying he's seen it as not a religious religion, he's saying it as a cultural religion, but actually then he says he's allowing all the other cultures to come to the school. So once again, the number to call is 0744 31366. Supreme joined us now. Have you got any comments to make based on what the headmaster's saying about locks?
He seemed to be, for someone who knows the policy inside out, he was tripping up a lot. I found him a bit stuttering. It seems as if he's not really clear himself, which is very interesting. Very, very interesting. One of the things that we've got to look at, I'm quite inquisitive about this whole situation with this young boy and how they've sort of put this policy in. I don't know much about Fulham Boys School, how long it's been around, but it would have been quite interesting to know the history of the school. Are they a school? Are they an academy? Are they, and as you can see, it is, there's what do they call it? I forgot what they call it. You got diversity policies, and you got all these policies where it goes to age, sex, religion, culture, and all that. They seem to have not followed something there, even though that they have it seems like they've got a school policy, but not a government policy, if you get what I mean. So there's an infringement somewhere where they've brought something in, but it's almost like they've brought that in to exclude a certain group of people. So that policy is not part of equal opportunities technically, because it's like saying, okay, we're going to bring a policy next week. Anyone under 4 foot, anyone under 5 foot can't come to this school, and we put it in. Okay, everybody agrees. You get me? It sounds a bit vague, that policy that they've got. Right, it just seems like I don't know how to explain it. It seems that somebody put that in to exclude, so they know what they was doing, or they knew what they were doing.
Dougie, what have you got to say in response to that?
No, I just want to add on to what Supreme was saying, right? And Supreme, what I'm saying here is that, if you look at all the policy and discrimination and this and that, right, put that one side. The people them are totally disrespectful. you see, totally retarded, totally disrespectful. And if people follow this and just look at it as it is, right? People just retarded, totally retarded. And the question is now, right? What do we do from here? How do we respond to this? How do we do this kind of foolishness? So that's where I see it, blatantly foolishness.
Wow. Okay, we're going to once again open it up to the listeners as well, listening to this broadcast. Bless radio station, the
link number to come live, or send even a text message. Is 07944431366. I've just joined in the conversation. I caught a snippet of the caller that who was the lady that was calling? Was that
Enemies Necessary?
That's what her name is.
Yeah, enemies necessary.
Thanks.
There's someone coming in.
Okay, so we do have someone, and we're gonna.
Greetings, caller.
Hello.
Yeah, rise up, I.
Rise up. What's your view on this issue now, Abu?
Well, is it just a repeat of been through it, do you understand?
Yeah, can you turn, if you got volume on your phone, you can turn it up, please, if you got volume on your phone.
On the phone?
Yeah, that's better, you're coming through clearer now.
Yeah,
that's
just project your voice.
Just put your voice out. Yeah, put your voice out. Yeah, respect.
You can hear me now?
You can hear you loud and clear now, Abu.
Yeah.
Darken on the phone. So what you're saying now about it's a repeat?
Just a repeat there. You can, from the day we have been taken out of Africa, yeah. The generation going through this thing, yeah.
And what's the reasoning behind this? You see, why did they do this?
Because they can. What else?
Yeah.
No, because they can, blood. You understand, you know?
Because one boy's been denied his educational rights just based on his hair, you know. It's like they feel like they can change the law as they please.
But you see them doing it in the workplace too, you know. Like of the sister, them have to really cover down to even get certain position now, you know. And we know it. You understand? But sometimes when we try to close one door, another one opens. You know.
So what is it? What do you think is the message is sent out for us as a people? What we need to be doing? What do we need to be doing in relation to issues like this as a people?
Just support one another, blood. Support one another so we can turn our front room into a classroom.
I like that, yeah.
You know, these are the kind of things that we have to start to look on. Because, you know, we have to be real, you know. When if you go to a restaurant and you keep on complaining about food, so I mind the waiter may all go around the corner spitting at your food next evening, you know?
For real, yeah.
Sometimes we have to be careful how we have protests to put back our children. We have a protest now will never happen again.
Right.
You understand? At the same time, the youth doesn't go through any form of trauma. You understand? Because here we are, and we don't even have a African school where we just send him to that one.
Yeah.
But I wonder if I can. Would you say that's because how vulnerable we are as a community? You know, because I mean, we're just vulnerable, and that's the reason why they take advantage of us.
Yeah, we are.
Yeah.
That makes sense. We come shout because you see that we don't understand that when we talk about a revolution, you know, sometimes people just see gun, but you see when we talk about a revolution, it can be a revolution in education. You know, a revolution in, you know, building our culture, but we're not looking upon it from our own perspective because we're looking through other people's eyes. And it, you know, it's gonna be hard for the next generation if we don't really come together and know that we have to come together to get these things solved.
And so you say our choice is really we have to build our own schools, our own educational, you know, standards, and our own way of getting our children elevated to levels above what the system tries to do.
It's not even what they try to do now, it's what we have to do.
It's what we have to do.
You understand? Because if we keep on doing things to please others, then sometimes as the music is a long time, we don't have a nice stand. You know?
Well, Abu, I've got to say it's a pleasure. You know, you've taken the time out from Galaxy. You know, I know you're a warrior on that station there to come and contribute to this, and I know you've got your trial coming on Monday. This Monday, how's that going?
Well, whenever just stay alive, you know.
Well, I saw the thing said, but I'm still alive, Ross.
I would just stay alive, blood, you know, and give thanks every day that one can, you know, see ones and ones, you know, because next year I'll be 60.
Wow. Ooh, wow.
You know, and I come to Galaxy when I was 30.
Wow.
So partly half of that, you understand? You know?
Whoa.
And one of the reasons is just like the school. There was nothing going for our people for the year wave.
Right. So that's a message then, you see. So you decided
what I'm saying?
Yes.
You know?
But Abu, I wonder if I can just ask a question. I mean, it's really observation from, you know, that we don't really understand the system. And the reason why I'm saying that, I mean, for example, a game of football, there's certain rules, yeah? Right? And for example, if you put the ball up in the penalty box, you give away a penalty.
Yeah.
Right? So there's certain rules, you know what I mean? Right? The thing is this, that the system now, right, we don't really understand the rules, and we feel that we can integrate. I'm not saying I'm not against people integrating the system, right? But once that we feel integrate, but we don't understand the rules. You see what I'm saying? And you see where I'm going with this thing, and then when things slap in our face, we're so surprised.
Yeah.
You see my point?
You know, it's true way I say, my brother. It's a living truth, you understand? Because what I'm saying is, my brethren, right?
Yeah.
When our parents them come here, our parents never have anybody to help them but themselves, you know. They never have a child working in the local authority. I don't think they may have a cousin who is police. You understand?
Yeah.
And to see how these people come together and do things without a form of integration, that means that the generation that bow to integration completely let down the race. You know? Because how can you integrate and you don't have the strength to dictate any policy?
It's true.
You understand me, brother? You can't do that. You know? But if you're gonna plant things for a long term or short crop or long crop, those people are going to do some short crop thing and they never think about the next generation and the next generation, and they never think of 50 years ahead. They only think about their mortgage 25 years. And this is how we, because there is rules and there's rules, but if we as a people does not make demand, you know, see, we can't just go along to get along, blood.
Well, you see, the thing is that, yes, demand, but if we don't understand the rules or understand how the system really operate, you know, we'll always get slapped in the face.
What I'm saying, right?
Yeah.
They understand the rules, you know?
Yeah.
What they're free to do is make the demand.
All right.
You understand me, blood? No, but the thing they do, listen, they're very versed on it, and they will tell you, they will give you from A to Z on it, blood. Yeah? But when you tell them, said, all right, I hear you, and you're very passionate in the way how you put it over. Can you go and put it over to the man in that way, because I'm not that adequate in those words. You start to tell about him mortgage, start to tell about him. You understand what I'm saying, blood? You know? So it's not like say we don't know the rules. You know? Some of us now come to in denial of knowing the rules, because if you agree that you know the rules, you have to do something about it.
Mm-hmm.
So we are in denial, blood.
All right.
Yes, I think you're saying there's some key issues that you said there, because we as a people, it's 2017 and still, this segregation thing is still going on in front of our face. They've just redefined it and restructured it, Still, like when the buses, when she made a stand on the bus, it's still happening now. And, as I said, we can either just go along with their program or create our own program, So there's a clear choice to see that, this is how they're treating our youths, based on this. It's not a hair thing. They say it's a cultural thing. So this is, my man's telling us, or the headmaster of the school is telling us in 2017 they've got a cultural issue with our culture, So this is a clear message of, a disrespect of us as a people, racism on us as a people. Reintroducing of segregation, and the new thing is a black identity extremism, which they tried to label us, but the only people who's being extreme to someone who has a black identity is them. Based in education, based in police, based in politics, based in what they promote as our images on TV, in media, what opportunities we get as a people in the working sector. So the only people who are black identity extremists are the people who are in power and enact that power against us as a people.
You see the whole thing about it, you always talk about the people who take notes.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Yeah?
Mm-hmm.
And when you turn around notes, round to get eaten. You deal with eaten, blood.
Well, that's the next thing. That's another thing. That's another black identity extremism, because basically they've created a program in Eton, where they can produce prime ministers, they can produce leaders.
Right.
So they've got that program in Eton, and the program they give us is worse than dog food, where we eat the food that they've given us. We're barely just labourers, 20, 34 years in this country. Our parents are still denied and our children are still denied any equal opportunities.
Well, that's the plan. That's the plan, because these young boys and girls, are genius,
Yep. Mm-hmm.
See, they are genius, right? But so we send them to the school, we turn them into genie, and it's under the authority of three rub on the imp and the lamp.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
You can rub the lamp and then become footballer. You can rub the lamp and then become rap star, or you can rub the lamp and you don't even know what they become.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
But I'm saying that we have to invest in our people.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
You understand? Because hearing this mother here crying for the education of our youth.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, anyone with a heart.
Mm-hmm.
Our millionaire brothers, them with a footballer, singers, or rappers, they say, Mama, you know what? They gonna pay a film scholarship that him go to a school, because them way there. These are the kind of things them.
That's true. It is sending a message as a people that we are separated as a people, because we should be looking at, that's our child that's being turned away from school.
And take a village to raise a child.
Mm-hmm.
So we all should say, you know what? Let us put this in that's this youth here. It is even one we save.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. So that's yeah. So Abu, I really like to thank you for your contribution. I'm sure we've got some other callers, some other contributors today. And once again, we'll be there on Monday. So where should everybody come down on Monday? Where is the place?
Yeah, man. 9 o'clock sharp.
9 o'clock sharp, all right. Yes, respect.
In a London Crown Court. Yeah,
in a London Crown Court. Yeah. Give thanks, Abu, every time.
Dougie, rise up, my brethren. Supreme.
Yes, respect.
All the time, man. Jammers.
Yes.
And we've got Theo in the house as well.
Yes, Abu, big up his status.
Who in the house?
Theo. We've also got Theo in the house as well from the speakers.
Theo, my brother, but you don't see him not talk much, you know.
We're going to bring him in soon.
You man go validate.
I just reached, you know.
Abu.
How is this?
Yeah, you can hear me.
Loud and clear, my brother.
Yeah, it's very interesting how the system has the youths celebrating Halloween and saying they're Christian. And I kind of look at this system as very hypocritical. Now, when we look now, this weekend we have another celebration where a man who was going to go and blow up the Houses of Parliament, they're celebrating him. Now, technically, if we really look at this thing, Guy Fawkes is a terrorist. No, he's a terrorist guy, my God, but he's going to blow up Parliament. He's a terrorist. And we're celebrating him. That's what. So, when you really check this, you really check the levels now. We shouldn't be celebrating. Yeah, go ahead.
The worst thing about it is how we can address one another as you guys. You understand what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So in a way, we start to swallow even them one poison and spit it out back on one another.
Well, Abu, I'll see you on Monday anyway, but that's excellent, you know, your contribution. We need more people like you in the community, and then we wouldn't have no problems like this, you know.
We'll give thanks for brethren, you know. We'll leave them out still, you know.
Respect every time.
All the time, man. Yeah, man.
Budum every time.
All the time.
So we'll be down there supporting Abu, and that's that sharp 9 o'clock sharp Monday in the Crown Court. Yeah, but basically, also now, if you want to get involved with this, the number to call once again is 07944431366. Once again, 07944431366. And also, if you the Working Action Group is working towards this issue, and they can be contacted on 0345 055 9859. Once again, 0345 055 9859. Or they can be emailed on info@workingactiongroup.org. Once again, info@workingactiongroup.org. We've got Theo in the house. Theo, are you with us?
Yes, I'm here with you. Yes.
And Supreme raised some issues as well, so we're going to bring back Supreme. But
it's not an issue; it's a fact. The only thing safe now is cats and dogs. No. Because they're the only one. They're the one that say, make sure your cat and dog's all right.
No, the cats and dogs ain't safe, right? Because you got this thing called special fried rice. Right? I need to ask Mr. Chin what is special about it.
I'm talking about this time of the year where we have these pagan. Would you call it pagan? This is pagan, isn't it? Yeah. Halloween. Right. The 31st, and now we're coming this week, bonfire night. But it's very interesting how we're on a subject that's dealing with youth. But yet, these things are focused at the youth. It's these pagan celebrations, but yet it's not Christian.
But what's I like what you're saying, because basically, you know, the key issue here is cultural or religion. But Christians celebrate the pagan festivals, and they haven't got a problem with that. But when one of us wants to get education by them, all of a sudden there's an issue, you know. So I like what you just said.
Look at this now. Look at this. Jammers, me and you sit down and say, you know, this man failed the attempt. He failed the attempt to blow up the place. He failed. So what we decided is to sit down and say, you know what we're going to do? We're going to celebrate a man who failed, right? And we're going to put him on a bonfire, and we're going to light it. That sounds kind of a bit... Yeah, that don't sound right, is it? If you saw me, if it wasn't no bonfire night, and you saw me in my back garden with an effigy that looked like a person and I started burning it, what would you do? What would you do, Jammers?
So we're going to bring that back into that, yeah? Theo, but we've got a caller on the line. Caller on the line?
Yes, how you doing? This is Brother Sion.
Siam, good to hear from you, Siam. Good to hear from you.
Yes, Brother Jammers, how you doing?
Yeah, and I must say that was some excellent delivery of speech, mastercraft speech you gave us at the Cultural Centre in Black History Month. I have to say, yeah, excellent, yeah. But so what have you got to remember? The key issue now, if you've just joined us, is relating to the young 12-year-old boy who's been denied education based on his dreadlocks. So what is your contribution to this, Sion?
Well, look, honestly, from where I'm coming from, I mean, I've had locks on my head for over 27 years, all right? When locks was something going on, that it was like in the 70s and 60s, 70s, you seen all, this thing about locks in Jamaica from around, say, the 38 to 72, Rastaman would be persecuted, man, because of the locks and all them look, yeah? Right? Mm-hmm. And these images, threaten the insecure person, the egos, you see what I mean? But it's nothing new hearing all of this, because Rastaman used to get persecuted big time, and now Rastafari is international, right? Mm-hmm. And then before the year was a representation of something more spiritual, what was taking place from within. Now you can go to hair salons and get lock style and all of that business, yeah? Mm-hmm. So there's not necessarily this inner process going on through even knowing what the hair symbolizes, yeah? And for that spiritual growth and thing. But now when we're talking about in 2017, a young youth with locks on his head going to school, and now he's being rejected. You have to, I would say, but wait, that would come under the same thing as you have Sikhs, them have long hair, them wrap up them head, right? Yes. Mm-hmm. Do they get persecuted, like them, when they're persecuted, they get denied certain, what them call it in education, is supposed to be inclusiveness. Yeah,
right, that's right.
Yeah, you wouldn't turn around and, be prejudiced towards somebody because they was in a wheelchair that they don't deserve access to education because they look different or they're what about the picture? What about the Muslim them and them wearing them things on their head? Yeah? Mm-hmm. Or you get the person, you're some person wearing this and that. But for me personally, because I hear as an individual, because I'm this is nothing new. You've grown up over the decades to hear this, to even be. Look, when I started to grow my locks, even people you think is your friend, them disappear. They run away. They don't want to deal with you. You changed. I can deal with you the way you were before, but why you changed? No, some of the I can't deal with you. Yeah. So you end up moving into this thing where you then draw to yourself, or you move towards those who accept you, or based on the vibration you give from within inside yourself, and it's not just judging upon your looks. Yeah.
But
I feel.
But Sam, I don't want to joke here, so but I remember last Supreme said something, right? Supreme can correct me here, right? Bob Marley's son, what's his name again? Roland Marley, right? You know, he cut off. Supreme told me this, that he cut off him locks, right? And the reason why he cut off him locks because him said that to get more further in business, right, he must cut off him locks, right? I said to myself, that is totally hypocritical and totally madness. You know what the man said? Right, for him to get further, right, he must cut off. Well, Supreme, explain the story. Because
sorry, yeah, I mentioned that Rowan Marley, he does coffee farming in Jamaica, and he said at a seminar that he had to change his image and cut his locks to be treated as a serious businessman. So this is how a serious businessman should look.
Put up in there. Sorry, Supreme. But hear what Supreme said, right? To be taken seriously.
Hear what he said, Supreme,
Yeah, what he said. To be taken more seriously, right? As a businessman, you have to cut off your locks. I just want to bring that point. Go on, Supreme. Sorry.
Oh, no, go.
I just want to just add to that. So this is the same message that they're sending out to us as a community, that if we want our children to be educated, they have to cut off their locks, you know. So it's the same thing that they're telling us right now. Sion,
well, I would say this, I would say this. I mean, it's a repetition. It's a loop thing, and we buy into giving a lot of energy to these things that it seems to be highlighted specifically to keep our attention focused on certain things. That is repetition. It's not new. And then we put our energy, creative energy, our attention, and start to create more problem, or we have this big block now because look what's come up. And why are these things highlighted as such? Now the thing with Rowan Marley, I mean, it's this thing. Yeah, it's what you prescribe or subscribe to. Yeah, because if he feels that that's why he's doing it, to be taken more seriously as a businessman, then that's like some people who would say, well, why they might bleach them skin because they believe they will get better opportunity because they're lighter.
It's true. Yes.
Yeah,
I like that.
Right? So that means, like, say, it's like, what are we really looking at when we hear these statements? People are going to do what they're going to do, you know, because you can't control what they think and the emotions that's going to come up through that. We do know there's a war on your consciousness, yeah? We look more on what's going on outside to influence us rather than realizing actually inside. You are the one to deal with, you don't have to be influenced by what you're seeing outside. You see, what you think and the images you projecting from within you is what's supposed to, what it actually takes place is what then manifests on the external. But we kind of get this feedback loop all twisted up, and now instead of realizing where the consciousness is the cause, we now become the effects. And outside is the cause that's maneuvering you how you should be and what you must do in order to be accepted by others, and in a society that says, oh, there's a certain look, a certain image, or a certain kind of way of talking, and all these type of foolish things in order for you to be accepted.
So I just want to take up that. There's a key point that you just said. I just want to take it up and throw it over to Theo. Basically, what you just enlightened us to is that this is not just about a 12-year-old boy's dreadlocks. This is actually an attack on our consciousness as a set of people. It's as the headmaster clearly stated. It's a cultural thing. So it's now taken, and now the new terrorist term is black identity extremist. So I like what you've just said there, because you've just shown us that this is not about here. It's about our level of consciousness. And I just want to bring Theo in on this. Theo, can you contribute to what Sam just put to
let me see what I can do with all of this. Well, you see, the thing is, you've mentioned this, and I heard about this black identity extremist thing. And what I'd like to the idea I have kind of dovetails with Brother Sion there, in that every time I hear you utter that phrase, I think to myself, well, this is an idea. It's what I call a conceptual reality. It's not something that's actually real. It's not informative. Yeah. There's no informativeness about it, right?
What is it then? What is it?
It's not definitive.
What is it?
It is someone else's idea of you.
Right.
Yes.
And it's someone else's idea of you, and if it resonates with you on some level, then that's your ass, right? The further you move from the core of who you are, the more susceptible you are to buy into these ideas.
There you go.
Right.
You see,
the brother said it. It's an ideology.
So Theo, so you're saying that they're taking it now to they're not even. It's not even the adults they're even doing it to. They're actually going and using our children now and affecting our children's psyche with like just what they've done here. They've denied this young boy his opportunity to go to school based on his culture.
I want to take it.
Well, could I interject here?
Go ahead, Sam. Go ahead.
It's the kind of conversations we then start having and start to, it's this victim mode mindset. Like, now look what they're doing. See, we can't even be accepted in education because of our culture. Hang on a minute. We really want even education. What am I teaching anyway? Yeah? Right? So we end up feeling we're being deprived of something, right? Because there's something in there, underneath there, that we will use to kind of vet that still, that perception of victimhood. And the thing is, it's like, if you're in that, that's how you're going to experience things. This is how we're going to see the world. And not everybody walks around seeing the world in the same way. And it goes, as I think, in their heart, so shall it become. So there's a creative power within the thoughts you can't see, the electrical energy and the magnetic impulse of the emotions. There's a creative nature and intelligence within what that does. But because we're not understanding what the true creative power is and its true nature, we have a doctrination that something outside of you is working upon you and judges you, and all of them sitting there. We are taking no responsibility, but we contribute to create because we're not realizing we're creators.
Can I just come in, Theo? Sorry, Sam. Yeah, that's it. What you just said is key, and the next level of that is they break down our thinking process as well. They even through what Theo was saying, our consciousness, and you're saying our higher intelligence, they also attack our logical thinking, because every argument is based on 3 stages, but they keep us in stage 1. The first stage of winning an argument is blame, where they, as you correctly said, they keep us in the blaming mode, and blaming means history, means in the past. The second stage of your logical argument is value system. So we're not looking at the value system because we're still in the past, like in Black History Month. And then the next key element is our future is by making choices, because we keep on blaming and looking back on trying to go into their system. We're not making the choices. Theo, can you come back in? Then Dougie, then back to you.
Beautiful.
So Theo,
I like that. Mm-hmm.
Right. Well, I mean, I was going to come in from a completely different thing, but the whole thing, what Brother Simon was saying about the this victim, this idea. I'm fully on board with that, you see, because even when you were speaking, not to criticize you, one of the first things you said was they, what they're doing. And so it's that we're internalizing that issue of what they think take precedence over what you think or what you feel or what you do. So you're always in a kind of reactive kind of mode.
Right, yeah.
You're always in that situation where you're reacting to a situation. You're not being proactive. You see, earlier on you mentioned like the Sikh community and others who have their particular adornments. They will move around in public and move in all spheres of activity within them, and they won't be banished from, adorning themselves that way. But then there's one difference between them and us, and that is they are solid and consistent right the way through their culture, if we want to keep using that word, all the way. So if you attack one, you attack all. We all express ourselves that way. Right? So you either put up with this, or you deal with this, or then you have to show your true colors. You see what I mean? You see, there was a guy recently. It was a racism case, and I was looking at it, and the whole thing with the football. Do you remember that thing where the sister got racially abused, and they was withholding her payment, saying, because you made a Twitter feed, we're not going to give you nothing, and then the whole thing came out. You see, but the thing is, they weren't really punishing them because they was being racist. They were punishing them because they was blatant and unsubtle about it. That's what they were being punished for. They was like, you didn't play the game properly and you got caught out. You see? Right. Like Sam was saying, when he chose to grow his locks, people who he thought was his brethren were starting distancing themselves from him. You see, there was guaranteed there's going to be black people who are not going to side with this mother and her son.
Right, yes.
You see? So the consistency isn't there. The support isn't there. So they always attack the weak links and win. Right. Because there's no united front.
Thank you, Theo, for that. Excellent. Sayom, I'm throwing that back to you, and then we're going to bring in Supreme.
Okay, well, you see, with that as well, we have to be real that while we're chatting about the young you with the locks, and I think him said that he's a Rastafarian, right? We have to be real and realize not every black people even like locks anyway. We're not accepting look, they used to talk Rastaman, they used to say about the dirty Rastaman. That's what they used to call Rastaman. Who would say that? Black people. See? Yeah. You say about black people that say, well, them dirty dreadlocks then. Right? So what happened here is that there's a lot of hypocrisy within the camp anyway. Yes. See it? Yes. Right? We have to be real with that. But then when it comes to a thing on, look what they're doing to this young boy, then it's like we go on like say we all are of one accord. And I'm going to say, it turns into what we use to stay in some victim mode, and this is why they can use it. It's a manipulative program. And then some people turn around and have locks, and it's like, they ain't got nothing to do with Rasta. And then even those who say they was Rasta, they have different, they don't agree, even themselves. Some people look upon Selassie as, oh, it's Selassie is God, you know, this image and person. And then you get those who know, say, no, man, it's not a person, a consciousness, sir. And always has been that. Yeah? So, this is kind of a war, it's a psychological, manipulative war that is being waged on different fronts, and these different instruments and tools that are used to get you thinking if you subscribe with what they're projecting to you, yeah? And then you start to create the reality and don't realize what comes back to you now because of what you're putting out.
Thank you. Sam, thank you for that. We're just going to take a break and then we'll be back on after the break. Thanks for that.
You're in tune to DJ Jammers on Bless Radio, UK's #1 station for great music. Don't touch that dial.
Right. Excellent so far. Yeah, we're just going to take this call again. Hello, Juliet?
Hey, can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you clearly now, yes. Good to hear from you.
How is everyone?
Everybody's good, man. How are you doing?
Everybody's good. Good evening.
all good.
Yeah, I'm alright. You dust me out like powder, Dougie.
No, man, but tell you my tribulation, you probably start. I don't know what I've been going through, man. Some challenges.
But you know something there for you? You know my talk.
Yeah.
Right, so we're gonna get to the crunch now, yeah, because we stopped Theo in mid-flow and he was getting worked up. You know, he's getting ready to deliver a speech better than Churchill. So, Juliet, yes, what how's the situation?
Yeah, good. I mean, as you know, we organised the protest working action group. I've been working with Chikayzea Flanders regarding the situation with Chikayzea. We've mainly been working on raising the profile and exposure about the case to the media.
Right.
And, raising awareness about the legal components of the case, which is very vital and important. And trying to get as much support and rally as much support as possible with regard to the case for Tuesday and for her family, and especially for sweet little Chikayzea. He's so lovely. And so we've been working hard doing that, and that's why we organised the protest. Although I've been reading some news reports and they've been quite interesting, but the fact of the matter, let me stick to the facts, is that Working Action Group organised the protest to raise awareness of the unfair uniform policy and to raise awareness of what we see as a breach of the Equality Act, because we have a project, as you know, which is called Action for Equality and Diversity, and that is part of our remit. If there's cis people who are working in a situation or face a situation where there has been a breach to their rights under the Equality Act, and clearly this uniform policy is a breach under the Equality Act. So Tuesday contacted us and asked for assistance, and of course we said, yeah, of course we'll oblige. So we've been working on in that capacity to make it a global issue, a national issue, and to raise the profile of the case, especially with regard to in a legal context. So that's what we've been working on, and there have been a lot of different organisations which have now, powered their support, and which has been great. And we sent a notification, a discrimination notification to the school, advising them that we were working with some people from the Rastafarian community, and we'd had complaints. So we issued the school with a discrimination notification and advised them of their, the breach and what we thought.
So could you just clarify what is the actual breach? Where does it breach it? What specifically?
Well, there's several breaches, to be fair.
Right, what are they?
There's one which is the fact that he is a Rastafarian. A Rastafarian is a recognized, officially recognized religion, and it has been even registered within the United Nations, and it's also enshrined within English law and also within Wales. Sorry.
Right.
So the Equality Act has 9 protected characteristics, as you know. Right?
Can you enlighten some of us who don't know?
Can I jump in there?
Okay, yeah, sure. Their protected characteristics are, firstly, I'll start with race.
Yes.
And then there's age.
Right.
Yeah. Then there's gender.
Right.
Yeah. And then there's, obviously, gender orientation.
Right.
Then there's marriage, civil partnership, pregnancy. Yeah. And obviously, religion and belief and faith and disability. So there are 9 protected characteristics, and and obviously race, and in this case religion, are intertwined.
Right.
So, the Equality Act clearly states that, especially Section 2. Section 2 states about your protection with regard to your religion, your right to practice your religion, and so the fact that he was put in isolation and told that he could not return to the school unless he cut his hair is in breach and violation of his religion, because, as we know, Rastafarians, especially those who adhere to the doctrines of Rastafarians and to the tenets of Rastafarianism, part of that is not to cut one's hair. And my father was a Rastafarian until the day he died. So it's something that's very sacred to the religion, and so it's not for the head teacher to question the tenets or whether it's a cult or a way of life, because for most of us, religion actually dictates your way of life. So the two are also intertwined. There is no segregation or separation between the two. The other thing was what I see as indirect and very possibly direct race discrimination, which is also a protected characteristic. And what that basically means is that I should not be subject to discrimination because of my race. Now, one of the things that is very much a part of our racial identity is our hair. So when you talk about no locks, no braids, the identification of us and the way we care for our hair, the way we treat our hair, and the reason why we plait our hair is part of the care and maintenance of our hair is very much enshrined within our race identification. So by identifying locks and braids, it's very clear that it's an indirect attack against his racial identity. So that's just one. Okay, so that's the Equality Act out of the way. Now, second, I'm going to talk about the Human Rights Act of 2008. Now, Article 9 of the Human Rights Act of 2008 basically enshrines within law your right to practice your religion in peace, basically, without going into too much legal jargon. And therefore, that means that your religion shouldn't be challenged by a headmaster. He doesn't have the authority to challenge your belief. You wouldn't go and say to an Orthodox Jew, hey, guess what? But I think, your religion and your hat, and, I'm going to go into detail about, the Torah and whatever. We don't think it's valid. We think it's just a cult. No one has the right to do that. That's enshrined within your human rights. And thirdly, I think also that the Education Act has been breached. And the reason why I say this is my opinion, I'm going to, just make this clear. From my humble opinion of working with a multitude of clients and working in equality and diversity for a number of years, and also within institutions of education also, I find that this is also tantamount to a breach. And the reason why I say it is because by keeping him in isolation and out of class, breached his right to access education. By saying that he can't come back to school unless he cut his hair was a violation of his right to access education. So in my view, I think that's also a breach of the Education Act. So these are the 3 areas that I looked at when I first spoke to to Tuesday. And the reason why I organised the protest is because the headmaster has dug his heels in, and he's staying steadfast on the situation of always talking about, constantly reiterating about the fact that, it's a strict uniform policy. Now, nothing overrides the law.
Right.
Your policy and rules are subject to the law. There's nothing that you can do to ever override that.
Right.
So, I could write a policy and be a school governor that says I don't want anyone with blonde hair and blue eyes who's a Christian in my school. Now, if I had a black school that did that, and not availing access to people, would that be justifiable? I don't think so. So this is, like I said, it's just common sense, really, when you think about it. Governors and head teachers, they must comply. They must be complicit with the law of the land.
Right.
They have to comply with legislation. It doesn't matter if you're academy. It doesn't make a difference. It's about basically not discriminating against anybody based on their religion or based on their race identity. And secondly, not denying someone an education on that basis either. And that has been the case. So his strict uniform policy is ultra vires. And in saying that, that's Latin, meaning it's beyond the law. And, he doesn't have the right to be beyond the law. So regardless of whatever he's saying, and saying that, a religion is a cult, he's not got the right to say that. When I was on the news the other day, the man asked me about, but Rastafarian is quite a modern religion, isn't it? And not many people know about it. Have you heard of Bob Marley?
Right.
Have you heard of Levi Rich? You go in the supermarket? Let's not even talk about individuals, right? But Rastafarianism and, people not hearing of, the King, Selassie, right? Or anybody else. It's down to your own ignorance. I might not know a lot about the Torah. I might not know a lot about Hinduism. I might not know a lot about Sikhism, but that doesn't mean that I should say that it's not a religion. That is down to my own ignorance and for me to go and educate myself about that, not to challenge it. And so that is what is happening. So we're challenging the school on that basis. We're also challenging the school on the way in which he was treated, which was abhorrently. He was put in isolation and given a Bible to read to try and justify his religion. So he was made to be vilified because of something that he didn't have any control over. So it's totally for me unacceptable. So when she approached Working Action Group, I said, yeah, of course I'll help. Come on now. And I wish that more people had showed up to the protest, but I'm going to advise you now that if they do not respond to the complaint which has been issued by Tuesday's lawyer on the 7th, I believe, it's due to come in a favourable, satisfactory manner, there will be another demonstration, and I hope everybody's going to find the time to come out and make their presence known and show that this is unacceptable.
Standing
on very fragile ground.
So if people want to get involved and want to know more about it, how can they get in contact with you? What should they do?
Just get in contact with Working Action Group. They can call us. Our number's out there. I can give out my mobile number to you.
Right.
They can email us. They can get in contact with us through our website. So I can give all that information. But I just want to get Tuesday to, also kind of share her experience and to call and support that she needs also. So
yes.
I'm just going to patch her through. Bear with me for Tuesday.
Okay, that's fine. That's fine. Yeah, patch her through. So yes, that's an excellent point's been raised here. The school is clearly in breach, and now we're going to get the mother come through to kill us. Hello, Juliet.
We've lost that. Can you try and get the volume back?
Ask some questions to Tuesday. She's not long coming from work, so I really appreciate her taking the time out to come on and to speak to you wonderful, kings in the studio there.
Respect. Is she through now?
Yes, I am.
Hi, good.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah, thank you for coming through to contribute. So, how's everything with you at the moment?
I'm alright, thank you very much.
Yeah, I know you've been under must be under a lot of stress. What's your what can you let us know what's happened now with the situation?
Well, basically, at the moment, since after we had the protest, we just have to wait now because they have to answer us by next week, Wednesday, with their response from the solicitors. So we just have to wait and see what happens, and then we take it from there.
And I just want you to clarify some issues. So your son, they actually use your son to to promote themselves. Is that correct?
Yes, they did. Yes, they did. I have a photo, which I didn't even know. Someone, when the news broke, someone sent it to me to show me, and I was speechless because I wasn't aware that my son was sitting in their playground, which is here long. Just outside the
so they didn't have your. So first is they didn't even have your consent then as well to take.
No, he went to school as a day, as part of his induction into the school.
Right.
They didn't even ask me to promote my son, which I was like, whoa.
That's outrageous. And you did have you said you had a conversation with the headmaster in relation to your son and the policy.
Yes, I did, because when my son started school the first week of term,
right,
and they called me and informed me that they have a problem. Then I went to have to laugh now, yes? I went to ask them what was the problem, and then they informed me that the problem is my son's hair.
Right.
So I went on to tell them that they said to me before that my son's hair has to be cut, basically. And I said to them, there's no way I'll be cutting my son's hair because it's his religion and his culture. Now, the lady that I spoke to wasn't sure what to do.
Right.
She was a bit like, oh, okay, I'll call you back. And then they phoned me back and said, oh, no, I'm sorry, it has to go. It has to be cut. And then I said to her, well, I want to speak to the head. I want to have a meeting with the head today.
Right.
Which she arranged for me. So I went in to speak to the head together with my partner,
right,
Chikayzea's dad. He was at work also. I called him, so he came with me, and we both went down and have this meeting with the headmaster. And the headmaster started to ask us, to tell him what is Rasta, what it's about, and things like that. So my partner highlighted everything to him, what it's about, who we are, where we're going, where we come from, the whole works. And the headmaster just was not having it.
So can I just stop you there? So the headmaster wanted information about what Rastafari was?
Yes.
So he was acting in relation to a faith that he had. He was clueless of what it was about, but he still felt that he had enough knowledge to stop your son having his hair and attending the school.
Basically, yes.
Wow.
Basically.
Basically. But I still can't come back to this, right? My sister, that they took a picture of your son in a playground with him locks to promote the school, yeah? To promote diversity and so forth, yeah?
Yeah.
There wasn't a problem then, was it? Took a picture of him locks and everything.
No, it was. And the thing about it, right, now, the day when my son went into the school, that day, I didn't even start this here because he was in primary school, and in primary school, I'm not in primary school, because I would tie it up, and then he'd come up and say, oh, mommy, my head was hurting me, so I took it out. So I believe it. So that day he went to the school, his hair was it was brushed back, but it wasn't tied up. It was like on his shoulder, basically.
Right.
And when the person sent me the photo, I had to sit down and I had to say, I can't believe what I'm seeing.
No, but you see the contradiction though. You see
the contradiction.
The contradiction in all of this though. They take a picture with your son in school to promote diversity and etc. And then it's like say, all right, then we have that now. We get what we want.
Oh yeah.
We are doing side so come out here.
That's exactly. I just made a mistake.
You have to look at it as it is. To me, I'm just confused by the whole thing. I want people to understand. Can we listen, we're on the radio, and I want people to listen to what we're saying. They take a picture of this the youth in the playground with him locks and everything to promote the school, to promote diversity, and then say, "Look here,
I said that out.
We don't want you inside the school again."
But I'm just looking at the photo now, and his hair was tied back. I couldn't remember. I tied back his hair, and it just got what? Fulham Boys School.
So what I want to know is that what's the time factor with him being in the school and then them suddenly deciding that they don't want him in school? What period of time was that over?
4 hours.
Now, when did he first join the school then? How long?
It was came in March.
He came in March.
Secondary school.
March. And then so when did they raise this issue with you in relation to his hair?
The same day I took my son to school.
Right.
That same day.
Right.
I took my son to school in the morning for 8:40. I went to work. I got a phone call about
wow.
to me that we have a problem. Like Houston, we got a problem.
It's just totally outrageous, really, and you've had legal advice in relation to this now, and what is the school? The school is still maintaining their stance, where they've clearly breached human rights issues.
How does it go, Juliet? Standing firm, standing strong, and fight, something like that?
Yeah, standing firm, standing strong.
Wow.
And fight.
Standing wrong and strong.
Well, it's shocking. It's shocking to you.
Yeah.
Me. Could you imagine me? Because I have other kids, and they have dreads, and they went through their school system, and I never had this problem.
Right.
This is not something. This is not something old.
Mm-hmm.
Kids and them. My kids are 18, 16. My partner, he has dread for the last. That's all he has, His other kids have it, and this.
It's just outrageous that you can have dreadlocks and you can walk in a cinema, you can go shop, you can go Tesco's, you can go in any form of job, but you can't go to get education. It's totally outrageous. The barrier is again being put by the church that's supposed to be proclaiming this Jesus, and funny enough, the Jesus more looks like your son than any one of the people who's trying to impose this restriction on him, so it's totally outrageous.
I'll make you laugh, because in the debate that we were having about my son's hair, when he didn't want to listen to what I was saying or my partner was saying,
right.
Eventually I had to say to him, okay, we're just going wrong in circles here, but let me ask you this question, okay? You say that who is your Savior, right? Lord Jesus Christ. But in your eyes and in your image, your Jesus Christ is a white man with long blonde hair. Would you ask him to cut his hair? Right? When I asked him that, he couldn't answer. He turns to me and says, well, it's in my policy, no dreadlocks.
Totally outrageous.
But if they see the image of Jesus Christ, if him long locks and everything,
That's exactly.
Exactly.
And you know what they did to my son? They took him, put him in isolation, and gave him a Bible to sit down and read to answer questions.
Terrible. That is outrageous. Like he's committed a crime. Woman, did they talk? Sorry, did they have your consent when they done that as well? Did they tell you what they was going to do?
No, they didn't even call me. I keep saying to them, whenever my son come home or if I call, I say, you need to inform me what you do, and you need to send me an email. You're isolated.
So that's malpractice again. They can't do these things without your consent in the first place. So it's like they've got.
That's exactly.
It's their mode of operatus is to mistreat us as a culture, as a people. Miseducate our children, or deny it the access to education, and enforce a policy that is lawless on us as a community. What can we do now? What can we do to what kind of support can we give to you?
Well, for now, the only thing I would like everyone to do is to please sign my petition. Please sign the petition, because at the end of the day, this has happened to me, and it was a shock. I'm not going to lie, it was a shock, because I never thought that something like this would have happened to my family.
Mm-hmm.
And we need to stand together. We need to, by signing the petition, hopefully, the Creator will put it there. That way it will never happen again to another child.
And so, where can we get to sign this petition? What steps do we take if we want to sign the petition? How do we do it?
If you give me, do you have the website by heart?
Is it a Working Action Group? Is it?
Yeah, I got it.
No.
You ready?
Yes.
www. Well, there are a number of things that you can do. If I could just add to that, we've got a leaflet, and it'll be going out by e-poster tomorrow. It'll be issued by e-flyer tomorrow, so we'll send it to you.
Right.
So if you could help us just by letting all your listeners know about it, and other broadcasters on your station know about it, we'd really, really appreciate it. So here's how you can help, and this is what it says on the flyer, and it was on the banners and the leaflets that we were giving out actually at the protest.
Right.
Firstly, ask the school to change their policy, and you can do that via the school website, but all the links are actually going to be on this website.
Right, okay.
The website address. Secondly, circulate and sign the petition. Thirdly, write to your MP. Fourthly, inform the Secretary of State for Education that this is unacceptable, and you can support the campaign. And because obviously it's quite costly to run a campaign, so all donations can help. And you can go to www.noentryprotest.
That's www.noentryprotest.
Noentryprotest.dj, Mr. P, so that's DJ.
DJ.
Mr. P.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mr. P.
And then J.
Right, Mr. P,
and then M, and then RP.
Right.
So DJMRP.com. So
right.
DJMrP.com. What he's done is put everything together in one place, so we don't have to keep telling you, hey, I've got a petition, there to go and sign this, there to go and sign that. It's all under in one place.
Right.
And if people, want to get involved, or they want to we're going to have a roundtable meeting. We're just waiting for the outcome of the 7th to see what the school's going to do, and so that we can actually strategize at that meeting with regard to next steps. So we'd like everybody that's involved to actually come to that meeting, because it would be nice to have a consortium of people from the black media radio stations.
Where's the meeting taking place again?
Yeah, I'm going to confirm the date and
right, okay, fine.
Circulate it
to
everybody. I'm just waiting to find out the outcome of the meeting, of the letter from the school on the 7th, to see what their position is, because that will determine what the next steps are, because it could be another protest, it could be, going straight to court, actually. It could be a number of different things, and it also depends on the legal advice source. So, and also, I'm absolutely thankful that, our discrimination notification was actually forwarded to Tuesday by Cheryl for us. We do appreciate that. So, it's good for us all to work together, basically.
Yes, definitely. And you've got our full support as well.
Contact us and find out more detail about how they can support and get involved, because this is going to be a huge case, because it's not just about, the fact that this has happened. It's been about, there are other cases like this, but it's also the issue of the amount of control that head teachers and governors have. I think there's a bigger issue, and I think, what Tuesday's doing is admirable in bringing it to everybody's attention that these power exists in the school, which are ultra vires, and at the same time they're standing in a position to oppose So we have to challenge it. So we need a body like the Round Table where we can all come together from different organisations in peace and love and, you know, work on an agenda, in a very strategic way, with action points and time dates to deliver on things and to process things accurately. And so we're all singing off the same hymn sheet, which is very important. So when I say hymn sheet, funny actually, because of the but basically that we're all saying that having the same message.
Right.
I mean, that's important. So they can call us on 0345 055 9859. So that's 0345 055 9859, or my mobile, which is 07 429 594272. That's 07 429 594272. And if they want to email us, it's info@workingactiongroup.org. It's info@workingactiongroup.org. And if anybody, wants interviews or media content or the latest press statement, then they can contact us as well, or just an update with what's going on in the case. We're not actually putting it on our website because Tuesday's a client to us, so there's a client confidentiality. So it's important that people do want to support and to help Tuesday, which is really, really important in whatever capacity that they can, and we can all help in some way. You're helping today just by broadcasting this and letting the community know, so that's vital and important. And if each one of you can tell your friends, tell your colleagues, tell your family, and share and sign a petition, we need to get 10,000 signatures. We're on 4,000, we're just under 5,000. So we need another 5,000. So we really, 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 really need your help.
Right,
so if you could do that,
fine,
that would be great.
Yeah, I would like to thank you for your contribution, all of us here at the studio, and everybody. We're going to be supporting you, so we'll make sure that we're getting the message out. And please keep us in the loophole of what's happening with this case. Yeah.
Yeah, bless up.
Yeah, what have you got to contribute? Yeah, we can hear you loud and clear.
Miguel got from the Church of Alice last first was talking about the incident with the youth, the Rasta youth from school and things like that.
That's right, yes.
Yeah, we big up to the coronation day, Church of Alice first celebrate today, 2nd of November.
Right.
Alice first crown 1930.
What's your view on this issue with the young youth there that's been denied education?
My view now is we was talking about it today, and the first thing the brethren say that they breach the laws the daughter said just now.
Mm-hmm.
Because all these things go through court already, so when the head teacher take up that on his own, he's breaching law, and we have enough Rasta youth to go to school right now.
Mm-hmm.
And Babylon can't touch them to certain ways, and you have a lot of Rasta teachers teaching at the school right now, and I work in all departments. So
right.
You have to look on these things where one person take up on their head and not try stop the youth from get an education. So you have a big case right now.
Mm-hmm.
So for the lady where I'm going to give the advice about him breaching the law, she has said the right thing, seeing?
Right.
Yeah. And still, you have a man where you was talking to early on.
Siam, yes.
Yeah, that man there, I would like him coming back again because he must have some knowledge still, see.
Yeah,
where
definitely.
We need to know certain things. He was talking about changes and certain things. So the whole thing is education. It's educate. That's why I company radio station more time and even speak of these things where we need to get together and educate ourselves and know the knowledge where we can defend ourselves in certain ways, and certain things that will come down upon us. That's why I congratulate the lady that was just speaking just now about the breaching of law, and things like that. And
it's Juliet from White, yes.
What she was saying is making sense,
Mm-hmm.
and we need to get around the table and talk and discuss all these things that people can take liberty and come down upon our youths and in this time, 21st century. Yeah.
Yeah, respect, man. Respect.
There's a lot of issue, Rastafari. So I just go and listen and just big up everything, you know, seeing bless up everyone.
Respect for the contribution, King. You know. I'm going to have to be heading out, but it's excellent. And once again, Siam and Juliet, you're welcome to phone back. I'm sure this discussion is going to be continuing throughout the evening. And, of course, we're going to give it full support here on Bless Radio. And I'd like to thank everybody, all the worldwide listeners, all Mantis behind the scenes, everybody who's contributed to this. We're going to keep the fight going.
You're in tune to DJ Jammers on Bless Radio, UK's #1 station for great music. Don't touch that dial.